A lot of people are calling this year's Samsung Galaxy Z Flip6 lazy, and after spending a little bit of time with it, I do have some opinions that may help your decision. Let's dive in. So let's talk about the design here. As you can see, there's really not a whole lot to talk about here. I mean, we do have very much the same design. There are some color matched rings here around the camera lenses, which obviously match the body of the phone. And if you care, the folded thickness went from 15.1 millimeters to 14.9 millimeters, so very, very small, insignificant change there, at least in my opinion. But in terms of the inside design, we do have a new vapor chamber cooling system, which will definitely help out performance, and that's pretty cool to see inside of the Flip. Of course, we have our fingerprint sensor in the lock button, and like I said, there's really a whole lot that is unchanged this year with the Flip 6. So I have the mint colorway of the Flip 6, but it's also available in silver shadow, yellow, blue, and a Samsung exclusive crafted black, white, and peach. Sure, this is a radically different design than we saw with the Flip 5. That being said, I think that it's a good design, though we do have some questions to ask regarding the pricing and availability of this phone, which I'll talk about in a little bit. I'd love to know your thoughts about these slight refinements this year. For me, this design and this phone in general doesn't provide any major utility to my lifestyle. It's kind of just pure nostalgia. People like the flip phone thing, and I think it's pretty cool. So around the front or the outside, the cover screen here, we have a 3.4 inch display that is 60 Hertz with a resolution of 720 by 748. And it provides limited use. I mean, sure, you do have you can scroll through and add widgets on here. You have your notifications that you can access. You can pull up full versions of apps on the screen like messaging or YouTube, things like that. And it's cool, but it's not a full phone screen, so don't expect to be able to do full phone screen things on it just as comfortably as you would if you were to unfold the device. So using the cover screen is fine. I mean, it's nice. It provides some information when I need it, but probably my favorite feature of the cover screen is being able to use the main cameras as selfie cameras, because you can literally just turn on the camera from the cover screen and be able to use those nice cameras and see yourself from that little tiny screen. It's kind of cool. So when it comes to the cover display, I just don't use it very much for anything important. It's really the inside display that is my bread and butter, and that is a 6.7 inch 120 Hertz display with a resolution of 2640 by 1080. But in a reoccurring theme that you will see throughout this video, there's not a whole lot special happening here that we haven't already seen before. Yes, it's a folding display. It's cool, it's bright, it's vivid. Both of these displays now are up to 2600 nits in brightness as well, so that's great for outdoor viewing, which is cool. And of course, we do have the 10 megapixel selfie camera under the display as well. So pretty much everything you're expecting here. And honestly, this is a nice long display. I do like the form factor here and the aspect ratio of this phone. It's really nice when opened up, but again, nothing we haven't seen already. So on the inside, powering everything, we have 12 gigabytes of RAM, up to 512 gigabytes of storage, and we have the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor. Specs are fine, to be honest, and I really haven't noticed anything negative in terms of performance as far as this goes. But I mean, realistically, it's 2024. Did we really expect a flagship smartphone to have performance issues basically out of the box? I think we're gonna have to stay tuned for my long-term review of this phone after I've been using it for a little while. So definitely subscribe if you're not for that. Software and performance is really where Samsung is putting all of its eggs this year. AI is pretty much everywhere, and to be honest, it doesn't bring a lot of utility to my life, at least in the form that is happening with these smartphones. So Galaxy AI is packed with a lot of things like chat translation, call translation, multi-speaker transcribing. We have Google's new Circle to Search, which isn't exclusive to Samsung devices, so definitely keep that in mind. And we do have the new sketch to image feature, which is pretty cool. It can take any sketch you do on like a photo or a note, and it uses AI to generate a real image. Same thing on the Fold 6 this year, so that feature is shared across those devices, and it is all the Galaxy AI stuff is rolling out to select older Galaxy devices. So I definitely expect the Fold 5 and Flip 5 to get these Galaxy AI features. So I said it before and I'll say it again, all of the AI features packed in Galaxy AI, they're just not things that I use day to day. I think they're really cool features, and I do like the sketch to image stuff, but it's just not something that I'm gonna use all the time. So this year we have a 50 megapixel main sensor on the wide angle lens here, which is definitely an upgrade from the 12 megapixel sensor that we found on the Z Flip 5, which is cool. And we do also have a new 12 megapixel ultra wide camera as well. And really there's nothing I can say that's groundbreaking here. Sure, we do have two brand new sensors in the Z Flip 6 this year as far as the cameras go, But it's not like we went from having bad photos to having good photos now. I mean, the Flip series has been great. Samsung's camera science and what they do with the photography stuff has always been good, and I do have some photos that I snapped on. If you want to see full resolution versions of those, I will definitely leave a link down below in the description for you. The only thing I did find weird about this is that the video recording resolution on the Flip 6 is capped at 4K, while the Fold 6 is up to 8K resolution, which is weird because they both have the same hardware. Why are we capping that resolution? So in terms of the battery life on the Z Flip 6, we have a 4,000 milliamp hour battery inside, which is up from 3,700 milliamp hours that we saw in the Z Flip 5. But honestly, even with that, I haven't seen anything major in terms of differences from the Z Flip 5 to the Z Flip 6. I'd say that 5 or so hours of screen on time is a pretty consistent average for using this phone. Obviously, your mileage is going to vary, depends on how much you use your phone. My use is not going to translate one for one to your use, so definitely keep that in mind. But let's look at the bigger picture here. This is a superb smartphone. It's one of the best in the foldable space for sure. The problem is the foldable space is growing rapidly and the competition is getting fierce, especially when it comes to pricing. And this year, Samsung decided to charge $100 more for the Flip 6 and the Fold 6, and it's really anybody's guess as to why. With the Flip 6 seeing even less refinements than the Fold 6 does, how do we justify that price hike? Look, I love this phone, and I think that the refinements this year that are done are perfectly fine. I think Samsung's doing a great job putting the foldable space together. I mean, they kind of invented the space, but it does kind of seem like we're just raising the price to raise the price. So with all that in mind, it's probably not a bad time to take a look at pre-owned devices for the Z Flip 5 or specials in that regard, or even trade-in credits for the Z Flip 6, because as a consumer right now is a great time to jump into the foldable space. But in a foldable world where the competition is quickly rising, if this is the best that Samsung can do with the Z Flip 6, I am perfectly fine with that. But sooner or later, we're gonna have to rethink the pricing strategy. It is what it is. I do have some questions regarding